Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the Strategy and Business Development Consultant for Imaginate, Gene Matthews.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, so my name is Gene Matthews, and I have a consulting firm called Imaginate. Apparently, we're going to cut off the top of that slide, but it's not that important anyways. I work with a variety of different clients, from small indies, such as Bolt Creative's Pocket God, and actually Dawn Patrol, I think you're out there right now in the audience. Hello. As well as major studios such as Turner Broadcast, Adult Swim Games. And I'm here to talk about small to powerful, or leveraging a hit. So first, let's start off by defining what do we mean by hit. Of course, I think we can all agree that it's a significant number of downloads, revenues, possibly a brand that's really well known in one country, or an app that is consistently in the top 25 of its category. So let's say you're lucky to have a hit. That's great. Now what? How can you leverage this hit to build out a successful business? So let's take a look at a couple of little tips here. Number one, continue to water the hit. Pocket God was one of the first to release episode updates. Today they have over 47 in the original 99-cent app. Each update that they did would impact their rankings by at least 5 slots within the top 25. This month, Apple released their top 25 paid apps of all time, and Pocket God was voted number 11. So it really paid off to remain focused on reinvesting into the hit. Of course, it's really important to keep advancing the game experience. PopCap's CEO, John Vichet, once gave advice to remain laser focused. If you have a hit, don't get distracted and start iterating with other type of brands. It's a cash cow. Of course, studios like Supercell are great at advancing the game experience with each update. Number two, make sure to come up with variations of the app. You can try different spin-offs that target different holidays or events or seasons, such as Doodle Jump did winter theme. You have Angry Birds with Easter, or Plants vs. Zombies with Halloween, or Robot Unicorn with Christmas. Each one of these things creates different revenues. Or another idea is to take your popular character and to change the settings, such as Angry Birds Space, or we put 6 pygmies normally on an island. We placed them into space and called it Pocket God Journey to Uranus. So it's a different SKUs of the same game. Or consider taking your supporting character and bringing it to become the lead role, such as Rovio did this with Bad Piggies, and it jumped to number 1 within just a mere 3 hours of launch. Or pretty much just come up with any excuse to launch a sequel. Just call it number 2. If you've got a hit, this will be a great tactic to just generate additional revenues. Of course, Temple Run number 2 managed to outperform Angry Birds' record of 50 million downloads within the first 13 days. All right, so number 3, let's look at game mashups. So this basically is crossovers, taking your character and inserting it into a similar popular app. For example, Pocket God did this in episode number 22. They had something called Ooga Jump, which was a play off of the popular game Doodle Jump. But what was really fascinating is that both apps ended up spiking in sales. Soon after, Emonji did the same thing with their Harbor Master and inserted Pocket God into the game, as you can see in that picture there. And then Pocket God returned the favor by creating Bait Master. So this crossover play is so successful that Doodle Jump is doing this even today. They're doing a promotion with The Creeps. Number 4, Reskins. This is a great way to create more revenue from the effort that you had with the first hit. Of course, one of the most popular versions of this is Emonji. They have done this twice with Disney, creating Temple Run Brave and Temple Run Oz. But as an indie, if you have a successful hit, you can look at doing the same kind of reskin deal. Just make sure to weigh the popularity, whether it's film, TV, books, or comics. Check the brand popularity in the different territories, if not worldwide. And if you're going to strike a deal like this, you can consider outsourcing some of the development work. A lot of indies have a very small team, and it takes a lot of effort to do this development. So some indies have been able to negotiate to outsource this dev work. And notice that some studios will actually help out and do some of the artworks themselves. So I actually did the deal with Hotel Transylvania Dash with Sony Pictures Entertainment and Play First. Of course, you're going to strike some kind of revenue share. As an indie, you usually think you're little and the studios are huge and very ominous. But remember that your user base is what counts the most. So you actually have a lot of power coming to the negotiation table. I would say you can probably negotiate something fairly equitable, about 50-50 or 60-40 as far as the revenue splits. But another key point is you can try to negotiate any of the out-of-pocket costs that are needed to reskin your app. You can negotiate that before the revenue share. Some studios will agree to that. I'm really sorry that's cut off. Hope you guys, you can find this online later. And another really important point to Reskins is that make sure that the brand owner is going to commit to game-specific marketing. A lot of times, again, the studios say, hey, we're doing $30 million of marketing. Isn't that great? And you say, yeah, but what are you going to do on behalf of the game? Don't let them get away with this. You've got to tie them down to specific marketing commitments. We've worked with Sony Pictures before, for example, cross-promotion with their other apps, or featuring the game on their movie site, inclusion on print materials and commercials. Angry Birds Rio was a good example. On their movie one sheet, they had a plug for the game at the bottom. And another one that studios love is their DVDs. When it comes for home entertainment release, you can put a little insert into the DVD, which will drive game sales a couple months after the movie's released. And the last one, tie in with any movie partners. Again, Sony Pictures had a deal with a candy company. You can add a little sticker onto it talking about the game, or possibly an insert with the candy. These are little tactics that you can use to drive actual game marketing. Number 5, don't forget about new app categories, right? We always have a game in one category, but don't be shy from launching a puzzle game, an action game, an adventure, etc. So Nickelodeon did a great job of this with SpongeBob. They have one brand with multiple game categories, so you can expand your franchise that way. Or alternatively, you can have a brand and come out with an entertainment app, an education app, or a photo app. Again, here's SpongeBob with an entertainment tickler app. And also Minecraft's photo or girl skins app. Those are all ancillary revenue opportunities from the same popular hit brand. Okay, number 6 is third-party publishing. This is an excellent way to further monetize your existing user base that you generated with your original hit. A lot of indies are starting to look at that because, of course, discoverability is a major issue. So you can offer some kind of revenue share. Usually that's a small % for the distribution only. But if you provide some development funding for an indie to top up their game, then you can, of course, take a much larger revenue share. Or number 3, you can look at kind of just acquiring a low title that's maybe not performing as well, acquire it and add it to your portfolio. Adult Swim Games is one company that does third-party publishing. They even offer a television ad on their network, and for every commercial that they launch, is shown to do 27% spike in ad sale or in game sales. Of course, you can do something that Kabam is doing, which is take a local star and bring it to a new territory. So if it's a star from Asia, such as Wartune by Reality Squared Games in China, you can launch it into the Western market. Another Kabam title called Book of Heroes has jumped up in the top 100 apps, grossing apps within 6 weeks. So Kabam is here at the conference. They have 15 third-party titles, and they're looking to get up to 50 by the end of the year. So if you're interested in that, look at them for some publishing opportunities. And you could cherry pick titles, of course, to be part of your third-party publishing and create a huge PR splash around them. Rovio recently announced that they're doing third-party publishing called Rovio Stars. They're creating a huge event around each title that they come out with. The first being Icebreaker, A Viking Voyage, and the second is Tiny Thief. Each one of these are trying to create a big event. Of course, Rovio is a phenomenon, and but you as an indie, if you have a hit, you can do this on a small level. I actually in the hall was talking to Game Knots that has a hit app called Ninja Fishing, and they're looking at doing third-party publishing in the Western market only. So, I'm sorry, in the Asian market. So, number 7, consumer products. Of course, there's a variety of consumer products offerings in the marketplace. You have figurines and electronic gear, board games, school supplies, backpacks, blind boxes done really well. These are all great revenue opportunities, but it also, more importantly, serves as a marketing play for your brand when people are looking in the App Store. So if you decide to do a consumer products play, one of the most important things is to ask for samples. You can test the quality and the texture of the product. You want to look at limiting the number of categories, exclusivities per company to mitigate the risk if they don't perform. One of the worst things you can do is say, hey, handle my consumer products, and if they don't perform, then you end up having nothing in the marketplace. So you can give them a couple opportunities, but don't hand the farm over to one company to mitigate your risk. And make sure that they have good relations with the retail channel, whether it's mass market like Walmart in the US, or mid-tier like JCPenney for apparel, or specialty stores like Spencer Gifts. Whatever it is, make sure that your partner actually can move product in off the shelves in the retail channels. And finally, if you do give some rights, don't be afraid to put carve backs in there. What that means is if you give them the rights to keychains or figurines, if they fail to launch by a certain date, or if they don't have a minimum unit of sales in the marketplace, that the rights revert back to you, which means that you can find a new partner if they're not performing. And of course, all companies always ask for global rights, which is great, but you don't be afraid to ask, hey, how are your Latin America sales? If they say, well, we don't really have much out there, you can feel free to not include it. Or if you do include it, again, add those carved back rights in there to protect yourself. So number 8, media. This is everyone's favorite, which coming up with animation is a great way to deepen the storyline or the fan loyalty of your app. So there's, of course, a number of different ways to distribute, whether it's film, which, of course, is the most complex way to do it. It takes the longest time to get to market. To TV, also fairly complex, but a little bit easier to get to market. And then webisodes, which, of course, you can go straight in and is really fast and easy. Rovio launched Angry Birds Tunes on Nickelodeon with 52 episodes. And they also signed Despicable Me, which is the producer of Despicable Me, for an Angry Birds movie that's slated to come out in 2016. You should look at retaining the level of creative control that you want, whether it's influence in the story or the visuals, and look at how many art assets you have to provide for them. But most importantly, if you want, a lot of the studios will ask for exclusivity on the merchandise rights. You can feel free to give it to them as it pertains to the film or television. Carve that out for them, but retain your original business that you work so hard to establish this brand. Try to keep that within house. Number 9, books and comics is another way. It's faster than film and TV, but continues to build out your app's characters. Pocket God has done this in the game. There's 6 generic characters on the island, but in the comics, it builds the personality in the characters a little deeper, which today they have over 22 comic books with partnership with Ape Entertainment, and has done a tremendous job. And finally, number 10, new platforms. Of course, when you have a hit, everyone's going to ask you to come build on their platform or join this, join that. Some of them might be amazing opportunities. and others might be an absolute colossal waste of time. So what is most important is forecast, obviously, the upside revenue and weigh it against the amount of effort needed to service that platform. The last thing as an indie that you can afford is a huge distraction, and it comes at a massive opportunity cost. So be careful. Make sure, of course, tailor the game to each platform to bring out its nuances. And watch out that if you do sign a partner that they commit to any QA or bug fix turnaround times. I've had a client with Android go out and buy a number of devices and start troubleshooting bug fixes or bugs because they were getting a number of complaints. Now, it's your brand and your reputation and not the partner. So make sure to commit them. And negotiate, of course, any featuring or prime placement. So the bottom line is continue to be innovative with your app and leverage a hit so that you can turn from a very small indie into a powerful one. Thank you. Any questions? That's 5 minutes worth of questions. Great. That's no problem. Thank you.